If you have been struggling with weight loss, typically you're focusing on calorie counting, moving more, working out more, eating less. That's the typical approach that many of us tend to follow. And personally speaking, I've tested this over the years, and frankly speaking, it gets to a point where you realize it's completely flawed and doesn't work anymore. And what I mean by this, before you dive into the subject of eating less, dieting, working out more, the first thing that you need to establish is a baseline for your current hormonal state. And what do I mean by this? There are two critical hormones that I've seen over the years, over my years, as I've been doing this over a decade, that influence the success rate of your weight loss transformation, muscle building initiatives, and whatnot. Cortisol and insulin. Both of them, they're often misunderstood. Many diets out there, keto, intermittent fasting, carnivore, high carb diets, whatever diet that you're following, vegan diets, whatever it is. Every single one of them, if you have realized, because I've tried the majority of them, they work to a certain point. Then all of a sudden you're not losing weight anymore, or you're stagnating, or even worse, you're gaining weight. You're doing the same thing, eating clean, but all of a sudden you're simply picking up more weight. Now, if you are one of those professionals, let's say you are a CEO like myself, or an entrepreneur, a corporate professional, you're exercising, you're eating clean, but all of a sudden you're getting more fat. Why? If it's a matter of calorie in and calorie out, the process is quite straightforward, right? Eat less, work out more, and you're good to go. However, if your cortisol hormone, which is a stress-based hormone, is completely out of control, and I have been susceptible to that, I'm simply sharing my experience on this, you will definitely struggle to lose fat. Even if you have the best diet, best workout program, you're exercising 7 days a week, eating nothing. If your cortisol spikes really high, it will get to a point where you are going to simply not lose fat anymore. It's proven, it's scientific, because cortisol is a stress hormone. It's your body's defense mechanism which prevents the fat loss. So your body clings to it, which is subject for a different discussion. On the other hand, you got insulin. Insulin is basically your fat loss switch. It's a storage-based hormone. In other words, it takes whatever excess blood sugar that you have in your bloodstream and tries to shuttle it, because sugar is poisonous to the body. It's toxic. Typically within your bloodstream, you do have almost as small as, give or take, a teaspoon of glucose floating in your bloodstream. So if you have a donut here, a piece of bread there, pasta there, whatever is going to happen is you are going to witness that your glucose levels will spike, insulin levels will go high, and the higher the insulin levels, good luck losing body fat. However, the often overlooked piece within this puzzle is the integration of cortisol and insulin, how they influence one another. Most probably you haven't heard about this before, but when your cortisol is high, your insulin goes high as well. Why? Because cortisol makes your body release sugars, specifically your liver, to release sugar in the bloodstream because it believes it's under stress. And any stressful event leads to stabilization of the body fuel. In other words, sugars, glucose. And what happens is, especially if you are insulin resistant, once sugar jumps into your bloodstream, your body tries to compensate for this by adding insulin to the process. So cortisol goes up, insulin goes up, and you are a part of a vicious cycle. And I've been within that cycle. I'm sharing my experience on this, and I truly hope that it helps you out. Feel free to destroy the like and the subscribe button and share your comments, your experience with this. Because once you have cortisol or stress levels out of order, good luck trying to control insulin. And if you're going to add more gasoline to the fire, you're going to have a poor diet, junk food, worsening the cycle. So cortisol goes up, insulin goes up. You feel off, you have junk food, then you repeat the cycle over and over again. So your body becomes driven by stress, controlled by insulin response back and forth, and it gets to a point, no diet, no exercise will actually be beneficial for you. So let's have a complete circle. Instead of focusing on calories, dieting, exercising at the beginning, what I would like you to focus on, give it a try. And you will notice, if you change nothing else, you will lose weight. Try to focus on cortisol control and insulin control. We're going to dive into the subject with expensive details, by the way, because it's a very broad subject. If you are struggling with weight loss and fat loss, you need to understand it's not your problem. It's not you. You're not the issue because you lack willpower, or you lack the understanding. Well, you're exercising more, eating less, something is wrong with you. No, nothing is wrong with you. You have no idea how to process your bodily signals. We need to shift our focus from tracking calories to understanding how our body is responding to the stimulus we're providing it with. right? Whether exercise, whether food. We're going to dive into a lot more details on the subject, but at this stage, it's important to understand if you have been struggling with calorie counting, with over exercising, that's not the problem you need to fix. You need to fix cortisol and insulin, stabilize them at the beginning. Once you stabilize cortisol and insulin, now we are ready to dive into the subject of diet, exercise, and nutrition. Because both of these hormones, if they are out of sync, no amount of exercise, no type of diets is going to work for you. Temporarily, possibly. Over the long run, you are going to gain whatever you have lost and even more. Join the channel. Let's tackle this. If you do have any questions and if you share such a similar experience, make sure that you leave it in the comments. I'm looking forward to responding to all these questions. Till the next video.